dear students who have assembled here with a lot of energy on this very beautiful day, and all of you have chosen to give 2 hours of your time during your busy schedule to listen to us, to talk and ideate on a topic in which you will be playing a very, very important role. Along with me in the stage, there are very eminent people and 2 wonderful gentlemen representing the Jain group, the Vice President of Jain Group of Institutions, Sri Ravindra Bhandari sir, and the Register of Jain Group of Institutions, Dr. Jitendra Mishra sir, and along with me, this Jayanagar area's your public representative, who is serving as your member of Legislative Assembly, Sri C.K. Ramamurthy sir, and a former boss of mine who served as the Commissioner of Police, Bengaluru City, and currently my colleague in the Bharatiya Janata Party, Sri Bhaskar Rao, IPS retired sir, and eminent people who are instrumental in getting this One Nation, One Election seminar in Jain University organized. Sanchalak for One Nation, One Election for the state of Karnataka, Sri Naveen Shivaprakash ji, former member of Legislative Council and Saha Sanchalak, One Nation, One Election Karnataka, Ashwath Narayan Gowda sir, who just spoke before me and who is there in the front row, and madam who is coordinating the whole show, and Sanchalak for One Nation, One Election for the state of Karnataka, Madam Saha Sanchalak, Madam Pratima Subhash, and all the eminent guests who have come, guests and people from different political parties and the party, Bharatiya Janata Party that I represent, and all the media friends. Jain Group of Institution has got a very unique distinction. This is a college where students have come from all different parts of Bharat, all 28 states. I was given to understand that even the students sitting in this hall who are in the first floor, second floor, and the third floor of this campus, 50% of the students, they speak a different language than Kannada. So the advice to speak in English. So, nimmellarukum nan namaskara telisi, ellorukum ennoda vanakathai solli, inga irukkodiya ella sondangalukkum ennoda kaalai vanakathai therivithuk kolgindren. Now, before I interact with you, I would like to ask you a couple of questions. One, to make you active. Second, to make you to raise your hands in the morning. How many of you are eligible to vote? Meaning in 2024 I voted. Okay, eligible to vote first. Okay, I'll not embarrass you. Okay. How many of you are eligible to vote, but still you couldn't find some time to vote this time? 2024 I couldn't vote. Fine, it's okay, no problem, for various reasons. And how many of you have heard about One Nation, One Election in the media, in the newspaper discussion, TV discussion? Okay. How many of you think One Nation, One Election is important for our country? It is the right initiative. Thank you so much. How many of you think probably, maybe the timing is not right, we don't want One Nation, One Election at this point of time? Anybody is there? Fine, it's a democracy, we all have to. In the old Rome, everybody will go to the city square. Thank you so much. In the old Roman time, everybody will go to the city square. And the voting is, somebody will stand on top of the city square. They will ask all the citizens. That point of time, the eligible voters are slave owners. And the eligible voters should have a land class. And eligible voters should occupy an important position in the Rome country. Only they can rise up their hand and show. For democracy, from there, we have reached to a point in 2025, when you see across the world, democracy keeps maturing, it keeps evolving. The great Winston Churchill, when somebody asked him, define democracy, he said democracy is the worst form of government. Then they asked him, sir, what are you saying? Why are you saying the worst form of government? He said, democracy is the worst form of government. The problem is other forms of government are much worse than democracy. So among the worst forms, we have picked up democracy. Different people give different explanations. The point Winston Churchill is trying to emphasize is, unless democracy keeps maturing, unless democracy keeps evolving with times, possibly you might lose interest. Because such a big country, all of us vote for an MLA, all of us vote for an MP. For example, if you take my state, Tamil Nadu, in Coimbatore parliamentary constituency, if you see, 15, 16, 17 lakh, depending on the 10-year scale, they select an MP. And about 70% come and vote, 30% don't vote. Which means you're looking at approximately 11 lakh people selecting their representative. If you take Jayanagar, one of the most important constituencies in Bengaluru and Karnataka, such a highly educated place, where a lot of people who follow tradition and culture live, even here the voting percentage might be 55, 56%. So the problem with democracy is not everybody participates. Not everybody has got a self-interest to participate. Because you don't see your public representative daily. And public representative is also very busy, and many of you see your public representative once in 5 years. And many of you see your public representative in the TV or in the newspaper. That is why the youngsters, especially 18 to 25, their participation in democracy is at an all-time low. If you look research studies after research studies, the youngsters' participation in democracy, direct participation by voting, by debating, by discussing, participating in this kind of seminars, the youngsters participating in democracy is getting to an all-time low. This is a very serious issue. That is why I'm very happy in this very eminent Jain group of institution. All of us have assembled here. We have come here to talk to you, to the youngsters, to ideate with you, discuss with you, to try and take your mindset, your opinion also to decide how the country should move forward together as a collective group, together as citizens of this country. And no democracy is perfect. If anybody thinks democracy is perfect, then probably we are living in a fool's paradise. 1776, American War of Independence, it got over. And the northern part of US and the southern part of US, they came together. That point of time, there was a big discussion on who will vote. Who is eligible to vote? How will they vote? What is the duration of a public representative whom we will select? Many of you might not know this. Because south of US had a lot of colored people, so-called black people. The north had a lot of slave owners or the rich class. During the American Constitution formation itself, people said, not everybody should get an equal vote. So the America in 1776, they started something called 3/5 compromise. Meaning, for every 5 black people who vote, it will be counted as 3 white votes. Because they said South is more populated with colored people. So this union of states will break unless we arrive at a compromise. So 3/5 compromise was struck. Who struck? Some of the greatest names in American history. George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, Madison, all those people, they struck a compromise. They wanted the union to survive. 3/5 compromise they brought in. Later Abraham Lincoln in 1861, which is a good 100 years later, 90 years later, Abraham Lincoln abolished slavery, and thereby the 3/5 compromise, everything went out. The reason I'm trying to make this in front of you is to emphasize the point. Some of you said, I agree with your proposal. Some of you said, I don't agree with your proposal. But overall, we all agree to a common point. No democracy is perfect. We all keep fighting to make sure we can improve our democracy bit by bit every single time we get an opportunity. And many of you might not know, in Italy, a European country, an advanced European country, till 2021 elections, for the Senate elections, only people below 25 can vote. Only in 2021 elections in Italy, they extended the tenure to say 18 years to 21 years, 24 years, you can vote in the Italy election. So all through the world, India is possibly one of the first countries in the world. The day we got independence, we said all of us are equal. The day we got independence, we said everybody has got one equal vote. And day we got independence, we said men and women both can vote. Because in many of the advanced democracies that we talk now, our brave sisters and mothers weren't given the opportunity to vote the day the country got the independence. So when India did everything right, starting from 1947 in the first election in 1951, many people said Indian democracy will die. Because educated people have got one vote, uneducated people have got one vote, people having land, they have one vote, people working as coolie and laborers, they have one vote, women have one vote, male have one vote. How is that possible? So from there, we have reached 2025 with our democracy intact. only due to the participation of people like you. This is something which we have to keep acknowledging at every single possible moment to make sure that we kept our democracy intact. That is why our country has gone through multiple changes. It is not everything is fine, everything was great. The first election, it happened over 2 years. The first election never happened like now. It happened over a 40-day period. It happened over 7 phases. The first election happened in 1951, 1952. Sukumar Sen, who was our first election commissioner, he conducted the first election. First election is very important because India, we have to show the world that we can conduct elections for ourselves and our elections can be perfect and more than perfect. Through this principle of equal representation, we can select our public representative who will govern. 51, 52, we did our first election, no problem. 57, exactly 5 years later, we did not regress into an autocracy. Exactly 5 years later, we did our second election, 1957, no problem. But the problem in 1957, the small problem was, 7 states have lost their majority by then. Madras, Mysore, Uttar Pradesh, Bombay, West Bengal, the so-called presidencies and some of the states couldn't complete their first 5-year term. So what we had to do as a country in 1957, we wanted the Lok Sabha and we wanted the Assembly both to go together in 1957 because 51, 52, we voted together. 57, we wanted to vote together. In 7 states, when they lost their majority, we made sure all these 7 states again came back and together the 1957 elections also happened in one shot, no problem. 1962, 5 years later, again without fail, because the problem was, many of the countries that got independence along with us, they regressed back to a dictatorship or an autocracy. For 3rd straight time, after 5 years, again we did our election on time, whereby the legislative assemblies and the parliament house of people, we voted in unison. 1967, 4th time, again after 5 years, all the state legislative assemblies and house of people, Lok Sabha, we voted together. Which means our country, starting from 1952 to 1967, for 15 straight years, it was a one nation, it was a one election without fail. The problem happened from 1967 onwards. Because 1970 Lok Sabha was dissolved 1 year before. The elections happened in 1971. By the time many states in our country, starting from Kerala had the first ignominious, the record of getting dismissed by the central government because there was a communist party in power led by EMS Namboodiripad. The government in Delhi at that point of time, they felt, okay, Russia is a communist country, China is a communist country. We cannot afford to have one more communist party ruling our country in a state in Kerala led by EMS Namboodiripad. Because he is bringing land reforms, he is bringing a lot of things. Probably the Congress party at that point of time, when Madam Indira Gandhi visited Congress, before she was the Congress president, when she visited Kerala, when she reported back to her father Nehru, she felt it is time that Kerala should not go the communist way. So against the principle of Indian Constitution, against the principle of a person deciding what kind of government he wants, the communist government in Kerala was unceremoniously dismissed. Then one after the other, state governments got dismissed, many times for flimsy reasons. Many times for flimsy reasons. For example, during emergency, the government in my home state, Tamil Nadu, was dismissed because they felt in emergency there are only 3 states in our country that are non-Congress ruled states. They felt all the non-Congress ruled states should be dismissed, and Tamil Nadu was one of the states which got dismissed. And many a time the regional parties, if they align with the party in power in center Congress, they'll continue in power. If they change to a different national party, they will get dismissed. Classic case being Tamil Nadu. Whenever DMK aligns with Congress, they are there. If DMK doesn't align with Congress, they get dismissed. So we have seen this kind of a seesaw democracy in our country, starting from 1970, an 18-month emergency in between. Then we have different governments coming and going, the late 80s. In the emergency, the Congress party dismissed so many governments. When the Janata party came back to power post-emergency, They also dismissed so many governments. They said, emergency, you dismissed this many governments. After emergency, I have come, I have dismissed so many governments. Now what it has created is a problem in our country with 28 states and 8 union territory. Every year, always our country, Bharat, seems to be in election mode. Every year. We just finished an election in Delhi. We are preparing for an election in Bihar, October, September. Next year onset, Bengal and Tamil Nadu will be the first states to go for election. Last year, along with Lok Sabha, we finished Orissa, we finished Andhra Pradesh. Immediately after the Lok Sabha election, we did Haryana, we did Maharashtra. You keep observing in our country always seems to be in election mode. There is always a model code of conduct in some part of the country. You all know, the youngsters, the students have to understand. A model code of conduct, moment it comes, it freezes the government, it paralyzes the government. And a model code of conduct comes a good 45 days before a government gets formed, before the election happens. And before the model code of conduct, a good 6 months goes into preparing electoral rolls, starting from the district collector to the tahsildar. Their job 6 months before the election is to prepare the electoral roll. Okay, anybody above 18 years, new voters, have you registered? You got your voter card, addition, deletion of voters, shifting of voters. 6 months we do it. So what happens? The administration goes through a severe paralysis. 6 months before the model code of conduct, then the model code of conduct, which is about 45 days, then the election happens. Within a week, the result comes. Possibly within 10 days, the government forms. So technically, if you take, a state loses at least about 7.5 months for every 5 years, only to prepare itself for an election, only to prepare its whole machinery for election. Right from a government school teacher has to be there in the field studying electoral roll, a government school teacher going to the polling booth conducting election, a government school teacher standing, sitting all the way till the counting happens. And this one nation, one election is not about elections alone. It is about the dynamics behind the elections also. How we as a country conduct election. Because election is not an ordinary task. Every time you will see the EVM machines going in elephants. And some places in Uttarakhand we have seen people going in ropes, carrying EVM machines in their back because they have to go to an inaccessible terrain. And we have seen our brave teachers, CRPF and other paramilitary, central armed forces, people traveling all the way into dense Naxal affected areas conducting election. So there is a machinery behind it. Now, over the last many years, not now, we are having a very big discussion how we should conduct election. Is it time that Bharat, India should go back to doing our election only one time, so that we go press one button for the Lok Sabha to select your MP, we press one button and another EVM to select our MLA, and then we walk out, so that every 5 years we get tuned to it. There are many logic and counter logic that is given both and against the one nation, one election. If you look at the earliest proponents in 1932, the franchisee committee report, even before the independence, when the provincial elections were happening, the franchisee committee report of 1932, it wanted a single electoral roll, so that for assembly and provincial councils, one electoral roll can be prepared, and you should not have two electoral roll for two elections. Combine the election once, so that people can have one. 1932. The Election Commission of India's inaugural report in 1983. Election Commission of India, every year it gives a report to the public. This is we as a commission, we have done elections, this is the problem. Our Indian Election Commission first report was in 1983. If you look at the inaugural annual report in 1983, the Election Commission of India said in 1983, it is time that our country should go for simultaneous elections, which we lost in 1967. They said in 1983. If you look at the Law Commission of India report in 1999, 170th report, the Law Commission also said it is important we go for one nation, one election, because that is how we were. Now there is so much confusion of multiple elections happening at multiple points of time. 2015, Parliamentary Standing Committee on Personal Public Grievances, Law and Justice, a group of parliamentarians thoroughly studied the issue. They also felt it is important that we should go for one nation, one election. 2017 Niti Aayog. They analyzed the economic potential with respect to conducting one nation, one election. If India does one election, one shot, for both the Assembly and the House of People, Lok Sabha, they formulated the working paper called Analysis of Simultaneous Elections, What, Why and How. If you look at that paper, for me the most striking thing that I liked in that paper is, one nation, one election will force a regional party to think nationally, a national party to think regionally. This is very important for a country like Bharat, which has got all of us speaking multiple languages, differing cultures, but the spirit of Bharatiya we united. Just yesterday, you might have seen in Tamil Nadu, my home state, the common symbol rupee, which we all use. Tamil Nadu government said we will not use this symbol because we wanted to use our Rus symbol. Because our rubai, what you say in rubai in Tamil, the rubai itself comes from a Sanskrit word called rupaya. From there the Tamil word rubai has come. And that ru. The counter logic is, since you don't want Devanagari, you don't want Sanskrit. But why do you want ru? Because ru itself has come from Sanskrit. Now in fact the symbol was given by a Tamilian in 2010 in the national design contest. A Tamilian presented this symbol which was accepted in a design contest, which all of us have accepted. Now one state says, no, I don't want this symbol. Now tomorrow a non-Tamil speaking friend, you come to my state, you go to a tea shop. Let us imagine you order a cup of tea, which is 20 rupees or 10 rupees and a vada. And then you take a menu card. What will you read? What will you see? That is why we have a certain commonality. That is why this Niti Aayog working paper very beautifully said, it will force the regional party to think nationally and national parties to think regionally. This is one important outcome that will come out of a one nation, one election. Niti Aayog working paper. Again in 2018, the Law Commission's draft report after 1999, one more time they said, India should go for a one nation, one election, the time is right. 2019, all party meeting in Delhi. All party meeting, this is 5 years before what we are discussing now. When all party meeting happened in Delhi, they were discussing critical reforms in governance. One important topic among the 19 parties that attended is how many parties support one nation, one election. You'll be very surprised to know many parties have taken a stand in parliament now. Some of the parties that, no, we don't support one nation, one election. But many of the parties in 2019, when they participated in that conference, 16 parties wanted one nation, one election. Parties BJP, Nationalist Congress Party, JDU, YSRCP, BJD, BRS, LJP, SAD, APNADAL, All Jharkhand Students Union, Sikkim Krantakari Morcha, NDPP, NPP, PDP, RLP, RPI. 16 parties said, we want one country, one election. 3 parties in the 2019 meeting, they said, we don't want one nation, one election. CPIM, RSP, AIMIM. 3 parties said we don't want. So the reason I'm giving this in front of you is, this is not a concept we are discussing now. This is not a concept the current parliament has taken up. Nor this is not a concept we are discussing for the last 6 months. This is a concept that started in 1932. And we are discussing it at multiple points of time. Election Commission, Law Commission of our country, all parties meeting that is happening. So all of us in consensus, we are trying to move towards one nation, one election, so that the youth participation in democracy will become high. You don't get voter fatigue. Oh, this month you will make me to vote for Panchayat election. Then you will call BBMP election for Bengaluru civic body, you will call me. Then after 3 months you will call me to vote for Legislative Assembly. Then after 3 months, like Karnataka, 2023, your assembly. 2024, you voted for Lok Sabha. Now BBMP elections, we are not sure when it is happening. Again, you will vote. Then people like me and all the leaders will complain. Oh, youth is not participating. Youth are bad. Since youth is not participating, they are not interested in democracy. I am very, very sure when we facilitate youth to vote, 100% of our youth will come, they will participate, they will vote, they will select a public representative of our choice. Now this is also a logic the student should see. You get a voter fatigue. You are least interested every time to go up, stand outside the polling booth, and many a time you don't have full information. Who's the candidate? What is the background of the candidate? Especially for a corporate election, you might not even have an idea who's your corporator. That is why many of the youths don't turn up. I'm very sure one of the positive aspects of one nation, one election is the participation of youth will go up. Second, there is an economic logic. Now, there are various economic studies which points out to a fact. If we have one nation, one elections at one shot, next year, the Indian GDP will see a rise of 1.5%. 1.5% will be an addition to the GDP. So 1.5% of the current Indian GDP will be about 4.5 lakh crore rupee. 4.5 lakh crore rupee would be an economic addition, a logic, because of one nation, one election, because of an uptick of 1.5%. Now there are also various studies that points out 2024 Lok Sabha election, all the political parties, candidates, everybody, there is a legal ceiling limit. Some candidates go over that, some go under over it. Though election commission job is to catch. 2024 Lok Sabha alone, there is an estimate which says together in our country for the elections, everybody had spent 1,74,000 crore for the election. 2024 Lok Sabha, 543 constituencies. Estimates say together the candidates, political parties, everybody, legal, illegal, under the table, over the table in our country, together they have spent 1,74,000 crore rupee. Now I am very, very sure the eminent audience sitting gathered here will think through multiple things, okay? Politically, one nation, one election. Economically, one nation, one election. To advance a democracy, one nation, one election. To reduce voter fatigue, one nation, one election. That is why of late the one nation, one election has got a lot of discussion, lot of debate. Now we as a mature democracy, it is not Bhaskar Rao sir or our MLA sir has come to the stage, they said, tomorrow morning, one nation, one election, all of you have to accept it. No. Our country, we have gone through a democratic process. And there is a committee appointed by the government, headed by the former president of our country, Sri Ramnath Govindji. He had a committee, he studied, called political parties, visited, spoken to people like you, young audience, all kinds of people. Then they came out with the report. That report is submitted in the parliament. That report is given to a joint parliamentary committee, JPC. And right now JPC is doing public interaction, talking to common people like us, taking your suggestions, your ideas also, to say, no, you have to compulsorily support one nation, one election. If you don't support, we will lock the Jain University gates and we will still keep talking to you till you support us. No. This is a democratic forum. As a public cause, this program is being organized to tell you this is what it is. Even the cons of one nation, one election, the negative parts, whatever people said, that is also taken care in the report. As of now, if everything goes well, one nation, one election is expected in 2034. Probably you will be 9 years addition to whatever your age is now. If you are 22 at 30, you will be doing one nation, one election. So, friends, students, ladies and gentlemen, it is very important to understand all across the world, the youths are becoming radical. I'm using the word called radical because they seem to be fed up with normal political parties. If you look at Germany, the just concluded election, many people have voted for a party called Alternative for Germany, AFD. And AFD has got 21% vote share, historic vote share. And if you are tracking the elections across the world, all political parties in Germany said, you are against me, I am against you, all of us are against each other. If none of us get majority, all of us will form government, but not this AFD people. So all German politicians don't want AFD, which is Alternative for Democracy, Germany, the English version of the German word. Because this political parties say, you are a Nazi party, you are a rightist party, and you are so radical party, you want to change German constitution, we don't want it. But youths are voting for that party to say, we want this party in power, because all of you could not deliver, we want AFT. I'm just giving you some of the statistics before you. If you look at Italy, Giorgia Meloni, 2021, when she assumed the president of Italy, for the first time the youths are allowed to vote, 18 to 24. First time they were allowed to vote. She got majority of the votes. Again, if you look at America, the way Trump has come to power, it is all powered by white conservative Christian votes and many of the youths of those countries who felt a change. Nothing is wrong. None of us have got the right to criticize anybody's voting choice. Probably Germany feels like that. AFD says no asylum. I will not allow anybody inside Germany. That is their stand. Other political parties have allowed almost 1 million people, 10 lakh people into Germany for the last 4 years. So across the world, democracy is in turmoil except our country, which is seeing a stable democracy. Across the world, new parties coming up shaking, green parties getting votes, some new radical parties coming and getting 20% of the votes. So Germany, even after election, could not form a government. Canada, the Prime Minister just resigned. The new Prime Minister is taking over today, tomorrow. He is going to call for an immediate election in Canada. If you study the democracies across the world, maybe something we are doing right. That is why the people of this country is giving chance to one political party, not once, not twice, but for the third straight time in 2024. Also to the same political party in all the legislative assemblies, time after time continuously. That is why we also understand as a major political party, probably as India's biggest political party, the party that I belong to as a Karyakarta, Bharatiya Janata Party, which has got more than 18-19 crore registered members of this party. We also believe as a big party, reforms have to happen. If we say, no, we are a big party, everything is in our favor, why should we have a one nation, one election? We are winning Lok Sabha, we are winning Assembly. Why should BJP say, everything is fine now, we will continue to be fine? But if you see, BJP as a big party is pushing for one nation, one election. We have to understand it. Because this current model is favoring BJP. The current model is favoring BJP. But still, India's largest political party is saying, we want one nation, one election, because the BJP stand is nation first. We are not looking at we winning elections. We are not looking at we winning Lok Sabha. We are not looking at we winning Assembly. We are looking at 4.5 lakh crore GDP addition will happen. More youths will come and participate. Democracy will become stabilized. Democracy will become mature. That is why one of India's largest political party, the party to which some of us here belong, we want one nation, one election. Likewise, my appeal to all the eminent students who have gathered here, you also will pay attention to this one nation, one election. Read through that report. 17th, when the website is opening, you will go make your comment for or against, and you will make your voices heard. If there is a better idea, you will share your idea, so that we as a country, this democracy will stay strong. Our children will get the benefit of democracy. Our grandchildren will get the benefit of democracy. Even after we die, India should continue to be a democratic country where everybody should have equal vote, equal voice. None of us should be repressed because I am a Tamilian, I am a Kannadiga, I am from UP. None of us should be repressed from Northeast. All of us should be treated equally. That is why democracy also has to do this self-engineering to itself. You please see this one nation, one election as one of the biggest self-engineering our democracy is doing to itself. On this note, I thank all of you for your patient listening, because this is not a very touchy, not a very comfortable topic. Democracy itself, we are not happy to talk about it, and this doesn't arouse the interest also. So I'm very happy the students of this very eminent university, you have given your last 45-50 minutes of your time patiently listening to our viewpoint to say the pros, the cons, how we can make it work, and how you should participate. I'm very, very sure you will start participating. I'm very sorry, my friends who are in the first, second, and third floor. We couldn't make enough eye contact with you because you are all around us in 360 degree. Thank you so much for your patience, and thank you so much. If there is small inconvenience also, and people who are in the first 3 rows, for your patience also with this. I thank the whole Karnataka team on One Nation, One Election for organizing this very beautiful seminar. and making all of us a part of it. Thank you so much. Namaskar. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Madam, please.
Our first question.
Vanakkam, sir. So, myself, Jeevapriya Karupaya, and I'm doing my UG second year in BA Economics and Public Policy. So, my first question is, what key measures would you implement to ensure women's safety in public spaces, and how would you track their impact? And my second question is, how will you change societal attitudes that contributes to violence against women and engage men and boys in this effect?
I think thank you for your question, sister. One of the biggest discussion that is happening right now, please have a seat, is about the safe spaces for our women in our country and the dignity that a woman is supposed to get and whether they're getting it. I'll give you a small statistic, sister. In my state, Tamil Nadu, in the last 3 years in Tamil Nadu, 2022, 23, 24, the number of school teachers, government school teacher, arrested for molestation or a sexual crime in a government school is 238. I'm repeating this again. In my state in Tamil Nadu, in the last 3 years, 22, 23, 24, the number of government school teachers arrested by the police for a sexual molestation or a sexual act inside the school campus on a student. Number of government school children is 52 lakh in Tamil Nadu. Is 238. Very, very serious cause of concern. And NCRB data also, if you look at it, in my state, year on year, the increase is about 8% roughly. 8% is what? The crime on women and children is increasing. So 100% your question is very valid. 100% we all have to pay our attention. And we have an eminent police officer who have served in multiple roles, police commissioner, DG. I personally believe police is one part of the problem, one part of the solution, the whole thing. When you look at the whole criminal justice system, you need to have faster trials. You need to have a better monitoring mechanism of the criminals who come out. In fact, somebody was telling, I refuse to wear a chapel. And this is not a political stunt. Oh, I've left chapel. No. This is because, and a friend asked me, sir, there are many cases happening in Tamil Nadu. Why for one case you refuse to wear a chapel? Why not for other women who was also molested? I said, brother, when a system fails, we are in deep trouble. In my state, what happened? The best university of Tamil Nadu for engineering is Anna University. And this girl is an engineering student. On 23rd of December 2024, she walks with her boyfriend inside the campus. They were talking. It's a wooded campus. And the criminal who's inside that wood, he kind of kidnaps the girl, molests that girl, records that act, blackmails that girl. And 2 days later, the girl goes and prefers a police complaint. 1 day later, 26 December, the FIR gets leaked. The whole of Tamil Nadu knows the girl's name, the girl's father, where is the girl from. Everybody knows because the FIR has become a public document. And the person who is accused number 1 belonged to a political party who had access to that university because he had a political pass. A ruling party guy was able to enter the campus. The watchmen were able to open the gate for him. He went there. Not one. He has done multiple acts. So my anger is, here the police have also failed. Deliberately the FIR was leaked. No CCTVs were functioning. The sexual harassment post committees were not functioning in the campus. So I'm taking this as an example. So I personally believe government is also one part of the solution. A large part of the solution is, for example, let us take Jain University. I'm sure they're doing it fantastically well. I'm not commenting. But all I'm saying is, it starts from your classroom to make sure you are safe. And you have a platform to vent out your feelings anonymously. Any mistake that happens here gets addressed. There is a system here. When you go to the street, then the government takes over. Anything that happens to you, there is a platform. So everywhere the platform has to be built and integrated across the state. Government cannot operate in silo. A private university cannot operate in silo. This is one part. The second part is, I personally believe, if you look at the sexual harassment, all the cases, close to 50-60% of predators are known to the girl. It is not an unknown predator. Close to 60% is a known predator. Uncle, chikkappa, doddappa, neighbor, village fellow, the person who's in the classroom, outside. This is where as a society we have a problem. Because roughly 30-40% are unknown people. Even 30-40% is very high. In some cases less than 10%. So society has to change our attitude. How we see women, how we respect women. I think it starts with basic education, building up. How we respect our mothers. What kind of respect our mothers get inside our house. How our fathers treat our mother. The kind of language we use inside our house. So it's a long answer. I'm sure when people like many of you, when you come, when you decide to get into politics or public life, so when you have a holistic solution integrating everything, I think India will be a better place. But me or you or a corporator or an MLA or a police commissioner, it's a daily battle for us. When society on its own reforms, then the battle becomes smoother and easier. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Please be brief and ask only one question, please. Two more.
Good afternoon, sir. ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ಮೋನಿಕಾ, ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಇಯರ್ BCom ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್. ನನ್ನ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ, ಇವಾಗ ಬೈ ಚಾನ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಕೊಲಾಪ್ಸ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಅಥವಾ ನೋ ಕಾನ್ಫಿಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಮೋಷನ್ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಆದ್ರೆ ಮಿಡ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಹೇಗೆ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಸರ್?
Sister, Dhanyavada, thank you so much. I think our question is fine. You all have great ideas. And the committee, please said, committee has given a report. Said 2034, one nation, one election, Madona, Karnataka, India, one day election ಆಗ್ತದೆ. Let us imagine Karnataka government collapses by 2037. So Karnataka government should have 5 years, but it collapses in 3 years. Eight Madona. In the report, the committee is proposing Karnataka government collapses in 2037. Elections will happen for Karnataka in 2037, but it will be only for 2 years. 2039, still Karnataka has to go for one nation, one election. So their idea is, if there is a midterm election that is happening, the midterm election's validity is only for the rest of the 5 years and not for a full 5 years. So that again 2039, we come back to one nation, one election.
A very good afternoon, sir. I'm Smriti Vinay, and I have a question to address you. So how would this policy affect the implementation of welfare schemes, which would often accelerate before elections? Thank you, sir.
Oh, thank you, Smriti ji. This is a very important question. Now, India is experimenting with multiple welfare models. Please have a seat. Please have a seat. Multiple welfare models. And some things we call a trickle-down economic effect, which we call welfare economics. And something we call a pure freebies. You just announce something before election, you want to win the election. Then there is an exchequer burden. You are not able to spend the money wisely for infrastructure development. Now, Supreme Court, as we speak, when both of us speak, there is a PIL in Supreme Court in which the political parties and election commission, they are made party to it. And Supreme Court is trying to find a balance between freebies and welfare economics. Supreme Court is asking political parties to say, what is your definition of freebie? What is your definition of welfare economics? As of now, the case is on. And different political parties are submitting their affidavits to Supreme Court. Election Commission is also there. I personally believe when one nation, one election becomes, when all of you come together on a certain point, I mentioned a sentence. Regional parties will be forced to think nationally, and national parties will be forced to think regionally. I think this is missing in our politics now. The regional parties are becoming so regional. The element of nationalism is missing in it. And second, you imagine 1 year, 2 year after election is so much burden because you want to give this much freebie. You want to announce 2,000, 2,500, whatever it is. Next 2 years, if you look at that load, I'll take Tamil Nadu, the budget is today. If you take Tamil Nadu government's budget is today. What do you think would be the debt of Tamil Nadu? What is the debt? The money that we have borrowed. Tamil Nadu is number 1 in the country. We have a debt of 9,50,000 crore. 9,50,000 crore is our debt. Highest. 26% of Tamil Nadu's GDP is our debt. Our liquor company, Taskmark alone, gives us 50,000 crore. By selling liquor, we take 50,000 crore, we put it in the budget. Every year, Tamil Nadu government is borrowing 90,000 crore to balance our budget. Now, Tamil Nadu government finance is in collapsing for the last 5 years because to supply to freebies, you are not able to generate revenue. You are borrowing money from the market that is making you a net debt state. As we speak, Tamil Nadu to repay the debt, if we don't borrow any new debt from today, it will take 36 years for us to complete our debt. So I'm putting this in perspective. So I'm sure one nation, one election when it comes would solve some of this problem. Probably you're looking at a national manifesto, you're looking at a state manifesto, you're looking at a combination of manifestos. Political parties might not do too much adventure on freebies and announcing swaps so that they can win elections at any cost. But frankly, we have to wait for one nation, one election to understand how political parties